Prefect Captain Fernand Ahoyo has been promoted to the highest rank in the French Navy. Firefighters in Greece have been battling to get wildfires under control after they rekindled on Thursday evening west of Athens. A month after the provisional result of a referendum on a new draft constitution, Mali's Constitutional Council has confirmed a massive victory for those who voted yes. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 1 p.m. news edition. I am Itunu Shune. On the national scene, the Maritime Prefect Captain Fernand Ahoyo has been promoted to the highest rank in the French Navy, becoming Captain Major. Now, this promotion was decreed by the Council of Ministers on 24th of May 2023. More details in the reports. Maritime Prefect Captain Fernand Ahoyo has been promoted to the highest rank in the French Navy, becoming Captain Major. This promotion was decreed by the Council of Ministers on 24th of May 2023. The ceremony to confer the rank took place on Wednesday, 19th July 2023 at the Amazon Square in the presence of the military authorities, political and administrative authorities, and the parents of the recipient. Promoted by the President, Patrice Talon, and officially announced in the Council of Ministers on 24th of May 2023 as Captain Major of the Navy, Maritime Prefect Fernand Ahoyo was presented with his new rank on Thursday, 19th July 2023, accompanied by the military band. After officially presenting him with his new rank of Captain Major, Air Brigadier General Bertin Bada, Director of the Military Cabinet, congratulated the recipient on his achievements within the Navy and encouraged him to continue in the same vein. For the recipient, the promotion is not just an honor. For him, it is also a call from the highest authority for him to take on even greater challenges.
Une promotion dans la vie d'un soldat, c'est toujours un événement. Ça provoque beaucoup d'émotions sur le champ. Mais il faut prendre beaucoup de recul et faire une autre lecture de cette promotion.
Promotion in life is always a special event. It is a lot of emotions, but you have to take a lot of time to see this promotion in a different light. Personally, this promotion has a message sent to me by the highest authority to raise yet another challenges in the mission which was entrusted to me, namely the representation of the Beninese government at sea for the happiness of the economy of our country, which depends largely on maritime transport. The rank of Captain Major did not exist in the statutes of Benin's Navy. It was recently introduced when the strength of the Beninese Armed Forces was revised and has just been raised for the first time in the history of the Beninese Navy. A month after the provisional result of a referendum on the new draft constitution, Mali's Constitutional Council has confirmed a massive victory for those who voted yes. 96.91% of the votes counted backed the plans, which would set out a timetable of reforms and consultations leading up to the presidential election. A month after the provisional result of a referendum on the new draft constitution, Mali's Constitutional Council has confirmed a massive victory for those who voted yes. 96.91% of the vote counted backed the plans which would set out a timetable of reforms and consultations leading up to the presidential election. Announcing the result, Amadou Usman Toure, president of the Constitutional Court, said it appears that the draft constitution submitted to the electorate on June 11 and 18, 2023 was adopted by the said electorate.
It appears that the draft constitution submitted to the electorate on June the 11th and 18th, 2023 was adopted by the said electorate, he says. Therefore, Article 1 declares that the sovereign people of Mali have adopted the draft constitution submitted to referendum on June the 18th, 2023.
Le 18 juin 2023.
The new constitution would strengthen the powers of the president, give pride of place to the armed forces, and emphasize sovereignty, the transitional government's mantra since its rise, followed by the break with the former dominant power, France, and the change of focus towards Russia. The long-awaited announcement puts an end to the hopes of opposition groups who had demanded the referendum be annulled. Critics of the project describe it as tailor-made to keep the colonels in power beyond the presidential elections scheduled for February 2024, despite the initial commitment to hand over to civilians after the elections. The umbrella group United Front Against the Referendum had denounced irregularities in the ballot, both in terms of the results and the turnout.
I was expecting it, he says. But my reaction is always the same because we've always asked our militants to vote no. Now you think we've lost. We didn't lose because with over 3% of the whole population, I think that for a start it's a very good thing.
This first ballot since the military seized power in August 2020 is seen as an important step towards a return to civilian rule in March 2024. In the past few years, Kush has wreaked havoc on the lives of young people in Sierra Leone. Now, the recently emerged drug is making terrible inroads among the young in Sierra Leone. Manufactured and distributed by criminal gangs, the drug is an amalgamation of the various chemicals and plants that mimic the natural THC found in cannabis.
A few puffs is all it takes to end up in a trance-like state for up to an hour. The drug is called Kush, a potent mix of chemicals that mimics cannabis. In this smoke-filled room in a shanty town, young Sierra Leoneans have gathered to get their fix. Many are barely in their teens. At around 25 US cents a dose, it's a cheap and easy way to escape reality. In the past few years, Kush has wreaked havoc on the lives of many young people in Sierra Leone.
They say I have to purge my body of this substance. Since I started smoking 5 years ago, my body is now addicted to this thing. I have to buy medication, but I don't have the ability to wean myself off it, so it's difficult for me.
Ibrahim Koroma is a social worker. He thinks Kush is one of the most pressing issues facing the young people he works with. He often visits the hideouts where smokers meet up. On this day, Ibrahim speaks to around 100 addicts about the dangers of Kush.
Because young people are dying. Young people are dying. We need a speedy and refocused strategy to see how young people are taken from this drug intake. But at the moment, it is quite alarming.
In the face of a mounting crisis, the country's only psychiatric hospital is overrun with addicts brought in by their loved ones, hoping to get them clean.
What we see in the hospital is can be likened to the tip of an iceberg, where only the severe cases are being brought. But if you go down to the communities, if you go down to the parks, you go down to the streets, you go down to the ghettos, you'll find much more, people using these substances and the impact has been created on them than what we see here.
But in the face of a highly addictive drug, willpower is not always enough for those being discharged. As resources for follow-up support remain low, relapse rates remain high.
In Egypt, dozens of people have taken to the Nile River on the outskirts of Cairo to cool off and fight the rising temperatures as heat wave hits Egypt. Dozens of people have taken to the Nile River on the outskirts of Cairo to cool off and fight the rising temperatures as a heat wave hits Egypt. Weather maps show that the heat wave that started in Egypt since last Thursday will continue until next week.
We come here during summer, as you see, to cool off with our children. It is better than traveling long distances to reach Alexandria. This Al-Kaneta Al-Kereya is the resort of the poor. We come here as this is the resort of the poor. We aren't able to go to Sharm el-Sheikh or Alexandria or any other place, but this one is for free. We spend a few hours and go back home.
The heat wave will last until the end of July, according to current predictions, due to the seasonal depression in India, but hot weather will decease by Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
What should we do? It is too hot here, and amidst the price surges, we can't go to Alexandria or any other place. It will cost us at least 2,000 Egyptian pounds. I went to Alexandria a week before Eid with my family, and one day it cost us about 5,000 Egyptian pounds, including transportation and food. But here, everything is free, and that's why many people visit.
Last week, Egypt experienced one of its many summer heat waves, with temperatures soaring above 37.7 degrees Celsius, according to Egypt's national weather forecaster. Globally, Earth's average temperature on Wednesday remained at an unofficial record high set the day before, the latest grim milestone in a week that has seen a series of climate change-driven extremes. Syria's 11-year conflict has created chaos across the country, but one odd and unique element of that chaos is an environment where fake international brands are widespread.
This KFC restaurant looks just like any other franchise of the American fast food chain, except this one is located in Syria. Its location in the war-torn country raises questions about the authenticity of this so-called branch of the world-famous brand. VOA contacted the owner of this establishment in the city of Qamishli in northeast Syria. He said he has a license from the KFC company. But in an email response to VOA, a KFC spokesperson confirmed that the company does not have an official franchise partner in Syria. Therefore, this is not a valid KFC restaurant. The last KFC branch in Syria reportedly shut down in 2013 after the outbreak of the country's civil war. Since then, no American or Western branch companies have had an official presence in Syria due to U.S. and Western sanctions against the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. But the names of famous brand stores are everywhere. They're just selling counterfeit products like these that can be seen throughout the markets of northeast Syria. The region is now under the control of U.S.-backed Kurdish forces, and the local administration says it is working on laws to protect trademarks.
Business copyrights and trademarks for local companies are reserved. We grant them to people who apply, but unfortunately there is no trade law yet. We do have a draft bill, but it needs to get passed by the local legislative council.
While brands like KFC may not be willing to take legal actions against the counterfeit stores, lawyers say the problem needs to be dealt with because consumers are being hurt by receiving low-quality products and in many cases paying more for them.
Firefighters in Greece have been battling to get wildfires back under control after they rekindled on Thursday evening west of Athens. The blazes forced renewed evacuations in an area that experienced some relief after 4 days of fires.
In the hills near the Greek coastline, we followed the fire brigade to a hotspot. Waterbombing planes and helicopters have kept the situation under control until now. The regional commander wants to show us the progress they've made. But when we arrive, the situation has changed. Another firefighter tells us the commander can't talk. They have an emergency on their hands. A fire is threatening to spread into a family-owned summer camp. It's been evacuated, but the owners are still here, helping as much as they can.
This camp is from 1953. And we had a similar incident, I was very young then, in 1985. And we managed to save it then. We hope to save it now. We were very optimistic in the morning. Now we are again very anxious.
They put out a call for help to the fire service to beat back the flames that are approaching their fence. Several water bombers landed direct hit and the fire smolders.
3 or 4 times we've seen the fire simmer down because of the water being dumped from the sky. But then 3 or 4 times the fire rekindled, and we've seen them go back at it with hoses and even buckets of water.
Some of the firefighters have been working through the night and the morning and are exhausted. Finally, the commander says he can speak to us because the flames are once again dying down.
So we're trying to secure this camp here, and we're doing everything we can. And for now, we are managing. Okay?
But then there's a sudden commotion inside the gates of the camp. The fire has spread around the back. In just seconds, the hope that prevailed has turned to panic. A wall of flames is coming in on a new front where they weren't prepared. The heat is palpable, and so is the sense of danger. The owners look on in disbelief and then make a last attempt to save the tents that welcomed summer campers for generations. Then, just like that, it's all over. The fire barrels down the third side of the property, moving 100 meters in 10 or 20 seconds. The camp is all but surrounded with only one way out, back to the parking lot as fast as possible.
So it looks like they've lost control of the fire here. They're asking everybody to evacuate immediately.
The family that braved the wildfires all morning has lost the fight, and grief sets in.
We tried our best. Unfortunately, we couldn't do anything more. It meant a lot to us, and it means a lot to us. I don't want to use the past tense. We'll build it again. I'm certain about this.
It was all here 20 minutes ago, and now, unbelievably, it's gone. But everyone survived, and with them, the blueprints for how to rebuild.
In Afghanistan, employees of beauty salons in Kabul, Afghanistan, staged a protest following a recent Taliban order that will close all women's beauty salons in less than a month. Thousands of women will lose their jobs if the order is implemented.
The Taliban security forces used water cannon and fired shots into the air to disperse dozens of women protesting the recent ban on the women's salons. These protesters chanted, "Don't take our jobs," and "Bread, job, freedom, and justice." A demonstrator says she joined the protests to demand her rights.
I was one of the women who participated in the protest today, asking for our rights, asking for work, asking for education.
The Taliban said that the services offered by salons were forbidden in Islam. Although women's beauty salons are operating with no restrictions across Muslim-majority countries. Protesters, many of whom choose not to give their names, say the Taliban's decision to ban salons could push people further into poverty.
Indeed, we want to know where the order is coming from. Why do they take people's livelihood from them? Why do they push people into poverty? If parents are jobless, how would they feed their children?
The beauty salon ban is the latest in a series of restrictions on women in Afghanistan. The Taliban also prohibit women from accessing secondary education, employment, and public spaces.
I think what is happening to women and girls is terrible. It is a violation of human rights. It is a crime against humanity.
The United Nations has called on the Taliban to withdraw the ban, which the UN says will impact negatively on the economy and contradicts state support for women entrepreneurship.
The whole city of Kabul is facing a problem. If the beauty salons are closed, these women won't be able to find jobs elsewhere to have an income.
According to a source at Afghanistan Chamber of Commerce and Investment, there are more than 3,000 women's beauty salons in Kabul and around 12,000 across the country.
And to end this news edition, here's a recap of our top stories. Maritime Prefect Captain Fernand Maximahoyo has been promoted to the highest rank in French Navy. Firefighters in Greece have been battling to get wildfires back under control after they rekindled on Thursday evening west of Athens. A month after the provisional result of a referendum on the new draft constitution, Mali's Constitutional Council has confirmed a massive victory for those who voted yes. Here will conclude today's news edition, coming to you live from Golfe TV Africa. Enjoy the rest of your day.